Don't touch the melons. A red light blinked on the control panel of the ship. Ambassador Zach leaned forward and smiled. He had been waiting for this moment for months. "We are finally here," he whispered. Outside the window, the planet. Sulfur glowed like a blue jewel in space. The alien world looked peaceful. Green fields, floating cities, and 2 suns in the sky. Zach had one job, to make peace between humans and the Zelfarians. "First contact," he said, adjusting his jacket. "Time to make history." Zach's ship landed slowly. Alien music played in the background. Soft, flute-like sounds. He stepped out and saw a group of tall, glowing aliens waiting for him. They had long fingers, big black eyes, and round heads, like glowing fruit. Zach smiled and walked toward the leader, a tall female alien with bright purple skin. He held out his hand and said politely, "I'm Ambassador Zach from Earth. It's an honor to meet you." But when he grabbed her hand, everything stopped. The music stopped. The other aliens gasped. One of them dropped a silver fruit. The leader's eyes went wide. Then she screamed. "You touched my hand?" Zach froze. Yes? That's how we say hello." The alien leader looked furious. "You insult my melons in public? Is this how Earth treats peace?" Zach blinked. "What? No. I didn't touch any fruit, I just—" Guards ran toward him, electric staffs in their hands. Zach raised both arms. Wait, what's going on?" A smaller alien stepped forward. She was wearing a round hat that looked like a melon. She whispered, "You touched her hand. On Zelfar, that's private, very private, like bathroom private." Zach's mouth dropped open. "I didn't know. It's a handshake, a human greeting." "Here," the small alien said. "It means you are challenging her honor, or worse. You're interested in her melons." "What melons?" "Melons means—" "It's complicated," the leader shouted again. "Take him to the cultural court. He must explain this insult." The guards grabbed Zach by the arms and pulled him away. The small alien followed. "My name is Frula," she said quickly. "I'll help you." "But you made a big mess." Zach was taken through bright glowing tunnels. Alien lights blinked. Every Zelfarian they passed turned away, whispering, shocked. "This is a nightmare," Zach said. "I came to make peace, not whatever this is." Frula nodded. "You broke the melon code. It's one of our oldest laws." "I didn't even know there was a melon code." They arrived at a round room with floating seats. Aliens hovered above, looking down at Zach. The leader sat on a golden throne. She pointed at him. "Do you admit touching my melon?" "I mean, my hand?" Zach looked around. "I admit touching your hand, but on Earth that's normal. It means hello. It's polite. On Zelfar, it means something else," the leader said. "It means you challenge my status. You question my power. You insult my family melons," Frula whispered. "Don't laugh. Just nod." Zach took a deep breath. "I didn't know. I'm sorry. We want peace, not confusion." The aliens muttered to each other. Some seemed angry. Some looked curious. Suddenly, a red alarm light started, flashing. A deep voice echoed through the chamber. "Melons have been touched. Prophecy may be unfolding. Scan the human." A beam of light hit Zach. He glowed slightly. Is this bad?" he asked. Frula looked surprised. "This is very bad. Or very special." The scan finished. The voice spoke again. "Human may be the chosen toucher. Bring him to the archives." Zach's eyes went wide. "Chosen what?" The leader stood, slowly. "This changes everything." "Can someone please explain what's going on?" Zach asked. Frula pulled him aside. "Long ago, our people believed a human would come. He would make a great mistake but also bring great change. Some said he would destroy us. Others said he would save us. Because of a handshake? Because of what comes after?" Zach looked around at the glowing alien faces, some full of fear, others full of hope. He had only just arrived, and now, The future of two worlds was in his hands. Literally. Alien rules and melon duels. The room was dark, cold, and humming with strange energy. Ambassador Zack sat alone in a round glass chamber. Above him, glowing alien faces floated like stars in the night sky. A voice echoed through the chamber. Human subject Zack of Earth. You are now under trial by cultural law. Zack rubbed his eyes. Still can't believe this all started because of a handshake. A tall alien with green skin floated down. He wore a long robe covered in symbols, shaped like fruit. I am Master Thal, Keeper of Customs. You broke the ancient law of melon contact. Now you must face our judgment. So look, Zack said, standing up. I didn't mean to insult anyone. Where I come from, shaking hands means hello. Friendship, not war. Thal tilted his head. Then your world is strange. Another alien interrupted, spinning in the air, like a fan. Earthlings touch everything. They are always grabbing. The others nodded in agreement. One of them mumbled, barbaric. Zack sighed. Can someone just tell me how to fix this? A new voice spoke, calm, deep, and distant. To fix what is broken, you must understand what was never taught. A glowing wall opened and Frula entered. She wore a dark cloak now, different from before. More official. More serious. I spoke for you, she said quietly. They wanted to banish you, or worse. But I asked for a chance to teach you. Teach me what? Our customs, our rules, our truths. She looked him in the eyes. But it won't be easy. If you fail, you will not leave this planet alive. Zack gulped. No pressure. Melon memory chamber. Frula took Zack to a new chamber. Walls of crystal glowing with memories. She placed her hand on a panel and a recording began. A hologram appeared. Two alien figures. One touched the other's hand. And in seconds, ships exploded in the sky. What happened? Zack asked. A misunderstanding, Frula said. Just like yours. It caused the last great war on Zelfer. Ever since we banned hand contact, especially in public. So it's not just about fruit or melons? Frula smiled slightly. Melons are symbolic. It's a word we use for honor, for family, for private respect. Oh, you didn't just shake a hand, Zack. You challenged the Queen's honor in front of her people. It's like slapping someone during their wedding. Ouch. Frula turned to him. There's more. Ancient texts say if a human touches royal hands again, it will awaken the prophecy. Zack raised an eyebrow. What prophecy? The prophecy of the chosen toucher. They entered another room. This one much older. Dust floated in the air. Walls were covered in carvings. Frula wiped off one with her sleeve. It showed a human figure glowing, standing between two planets. Behind him were two doors, one of peace and one of destruction. Some believe the chosen toucher will bring unity, Frula said. Others think he will destroy both worlds. Which one do you believe? Zack asked. I don't know, but I know you're not just here by accident. The melon core reacted to you. That's never happened before. Zack stepped closer to the wall. He saw something strange. One of the carvings looked like him. Short hair, earth suit, same symbol, on the chest. This is insane, he whispered. The duel of customs later that day, Zack was taken to an open arena. Aliens floated around in the stands, whispering. At the center of the arena stood 3 pillars, each glowing with different light. Frula stood beside him holding a small orb. This is the test. Each pillar will show you a challenge. If you can complete them without insulting our ways again, they'll allow you to stay. And if I fail? Frula didn't answer. The first pillar lit up red. A hologram of an alien child appeared. It held out something that looked like a small fruit. What do you do? Frula asked. Zack thought. Say thank you? 2. Slow. The child hologram exploded in sparks. The crowd gasped. Frula shook her head. On Zelfer, when a child gives a gift, you must turn your back. Take 3 steps. Then accept. It shows humility. Zack gritted his teeth. Okay, got it. Second pillar lit up blue. A tall warrior alien appeared. It bowed. Bow lower, Frula whispered. They outrank you. Zack bent deep. The warrior clapped its hands. Success. Third pillar, glowing yellow. A round alien rolled forward with what looked like a dance challenge. You must mirror the dance, Frula said. Zack watched carefully, then tried to copy the moves. It was clumsy, awkward, and ridiculous. But he tried his best. The pillar glowed green. The crowd cheered softly. Frula smiled. They accept your effort. Zack let out a breath. How many more of these? A new voice boomed. Only one more. Zack turned. A figure stood at the entrance to the arena. He wore black armor, glowing green eyes. I am General Vorn, defender of the Queen's honor, and I challenge you to a melon duel. Zack's heart skipped. Melon? What now? Frula whispered, terrified. No human has ever survived one. Duel. Of the fruit mine, Zack stood in a strange circular room across from General Vorn. In the center floated a glowing fruit, half real, half energy. Vorn growled. This is a test of the mind, not body. Touch the fruit, and reveal your truth. Zack stepped forward. He touched it. Immediately, visions exploded in his mind. His childhood, his fears, his guilt, his wish to prove himself, his loneliness, in space, his dreams of peace. Vorn also touched the fruit, his pride, his pain, his lost brother, killed during the last war with humans. Both of them were connected now, their emotions tangled like wires. The fruit cracked, then exploded in a flash of light. Both Zack and Vorn collapsed. The crowd stood silent. Vorn opened his eyes and slowly kneeled. He showed me his truth, he said, and he saw mine. We are not so different. Zack sat up, dizzy. Did I win? Frula helped him up. You didn't win. You changed something, and that's more powerful. The Melon prophecy. The night sky over Zelfer had turned violet. 2 moons hovered above, casting a soft glow over the city of Veon Kreen. It was peaceful on the surface, but inside the council chambers, minds were in chaos. Ambassador Zack stood in front of the alien High Council, still wearing the dust of the arena, sweat on his brow and confusion in his eyes. He had passed the Melon duel. He had shared truth with General Vorn. And now, they were calling him the one from the prophecy. Zack wasn't sure what that meant, but he knew it wasn't good. Secrets beneath the temple. Zack and Frula walked quietly through an underground tunnel. Frula held a glowing orb in one hand, leading the way. We're going to the Temple of Knowledge, she said. Few aliens are allowed there, but the elders, they've asked to meet you. What if they think I'm dangerous? Zack asked. Then they'll erase your memory and return you to Earth. Comforting. They reached a giant metal door. Frula placed the orb in the center. It melted into light, and the door opened, with a hiss. Inside, the room was enormous, walls covered in ancient symbols, floating scrolls circling the air, and in the middle, a giant stone slab carved with pictures. On the slab, a human figure stood between 2 worlds. His hands were out, touching both planets. And behind him, fire. Frula pointed. This is the old prophecy. It's called the touch that splits the sky. Zack stepped closer. What does it mean? No one knows exactly, a deep voice said behind them. An ancient alien floated down from a high seat. Her eyes glowed with years of wisdom. I am Elder Neela. I've studied the prophecy. For 5 centuries, she pointed at the image. This human will come during the time of twin moons. He will break the law of Melons. And his touch will either bring unity or war. So what if I just leave? Zack asked. Nyla shook her head. It's already begun. The Corps recognized you. The duel changed our general. The Queen now hesitates to attack Earth. Everything is moving because of your presence. Zack's stomach turned. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't chosen. He was just a guy with a handshake problem. I didn't ask for this, he whispered. Nyla looked into his eyes. Prophecy doesn't ask. It chooses. A forbidden name while Frula searched through old scrolls. Zack explored a side room filled with ancient artifacts. Strange weapons, glowing stones, and one odd item. A human book, a real book. Dusty, torn, but the title was in English. First, contact Earth to Stars. His hands shook. How is this here? An old alien stepped from the shadows. He wore no symbols, only scars. Because I brought it, he said. Long ago. You're from Earth? Zack asked. No, but I fought beside a human once. His name was Commander Eli Stone. He came here 50 years ago, touched the Queen's hand. Just like you. What happened to him? The old alien looked away. He died, but not before changing our world. He stopped a war, saved a city, and disappeared during the Great Collapse. They erased his name from the records, called him dangerous, unpredictable. Zack looked back at the book. So I'm not the first. No, the alien said, stepping forward. But you might be the last. Fire in the skies back above ground, the Queen of Zelfur stood on her balcony. Her advisors surrounded her. Your Majesty, one of them said, we cannot trust the human. The prophecy is clear. He brings fire. Another shouted, warships from Earth are moving closer. If we wait too long, we may lose our advantage. The Queen closed her eyes. Part of her believed the old ways, but something about this human, his honesty, his confusion, his courage. She had felt something when he touched her hand. For the first time in decades, she had felt. She turned to her guards. Bring him to me. The Queen's offer, Zack, stood in the middle of a golden chamber. The Queen sat on her throne, her face unreadable. You are not what I expected, she said. You are clumsy, loud, full of emotion. Thank you, Zack replied. She smiled slightly. But you are honest, brave in your own foolish way. Zack stepped forward. I didn't mean to offend your people, I only want peace. But if this prophecy is real, if my touch can decide something, then let me use it to fix what's broken. The Queen leaned forward. Earth has sent ships. They fear what might happen here. We fear the same. I can end this, if you become something more. What do you mean? A bridge. Between our people, stay on Zelfur, learn, teach, be the first ambassador, who doesn't just visit, but lives among us. Zack's heart pounded. You want me to stay forever? Only if you wish to stop what's coming. Zack looked around. This world, these people, this prophecy. He never wanted any of this. But maybe he was meant for it. The Shadow Rebellion as Zack and Frula walked back toward the temple. A dark shadow passed above. A group of hooded figures jumped down from the rooftops. Frula gasped. They're rebels. One of them stepped forward holding a strange black crystal. You are the one who touched the Queen, he growled. You carry the fire. You are the beginning of the end. I'm trying to stop the war, Zack shouted. The rebel smiled coldly. Exactly, and that's the problem. They threw the crystal down. It exploded into smoke. Before Zack could react, Frula was gone, kidnapped. A voice from the crystal left behind in the smoke was a small device. A glowing green cube. Zack picked it up. The voice of the rebel echoed from it. The girl is ours. If you want her back, come alone, bring no guards. And if you touch another melon, this time, it will mean war. Zack clenched his fist. He had come to make peace. But now, he would have to fight for it. Melon core activated deep inside the ground beneath Zelfur's capital. An ancient power had awakened. Its glow was faint. Its pulse was slow, but it was alive. For the first time in over 1,000 years, the Melon core had felt something. Countdown to War Ambassador. Zack stared at the green cube in his hand. Frula was gone, kidnapped by rebels who believed in destruction over peace. He stood in a dark chamber with Elder Nyla and General Vorn. "They're trying to control the prophecy," Nyla said. "They think by killing Frula, they'll stop you from bringing unity." Zack clenched his fists. "Then we don't wait. We find them." Vorn shook his head. "You're too important now. You can't run into a trap." "She risked everything for me," Zack said. "I'm not leaving her behind." Vorn hesitated, then pulled out a blade carved from dark crystal. "Then take this. It once belonged to Eli Stone, the last human to stand where you do now." Zack stared at the blade. It was light but strong, ancient but sharp. "Thanks," he said, "but I hope I don't need it." Hidden signals. Zack walked into the communications center, a huge alien tower full of floating screens and symbols. "I need to track Frula's last signal," he told the technicians. A young alien nodded. Her communicator sent out a burst, just before she vanished. On the screen, a map of Zelpher lit up. Red dots flashed in a circle near the outer rim of the city. Old ruins, long abandoned. "Those ruins are forbidden," one technician said. "They sit above the Melon core." Zack turned. "The what?" The room fell silent. Elder Nyla stepped in. "The Melon core is the heart of our world, a living system of knowledge, energy, and memory. Only the royal line may approach it. And, if someone else does..." Nyla looked down. "The planet might not allow it." Descent into the core. Zack traveled in secret. Only Vorn came with him. They flew in a silent scout craft through the fog-covered canyons outside the city. As they reached the ruins, strange lights flickered in the sky. Blue sparks danced above ancient stones. "This place is old," Vorn whispered. "Older than the cities. Older than Zelpher itself." They entered a stone tunnel. Alien symbols pulsed faintly along the walls. "Look," Zack said. There were signs of a struggle, broken cables, scorch marks. Then, a scream echoed from below. Frula. Without thinking, Zack ran. They reached a large underground chamber. In the center, a platform hovered above a deep glowing pit, the Melon core, and on the platform, tied by energy ropes, was Frula. 5 rebels stood around her, cloaked and silent. The leader stepped forward. "You came," he said. "Good." Zack raised the ancient blade. "Let her go." The rebel laughed. "You still don't understand. The prophecy was never about peace. It was about power. The one who touches the core decides our future, and we won't let a soft human make that choice." Suddenly, the platform cracked. Beams of light shot out from the pit. The core had awakened. "This place is unstable," Vorn shouted. "If we fight here, it could explode." But it was too late. The rebels attacked. Connection. Zack moved fast. He dodged a blast and swung the blade. It glowed as it struck a rebel's weapon, knocking it from his hand. Vorn covered him, taking down 2 attackers with precise force. But during the fight, Zack was thrown backward, right toward the edge of the pit. He fell into the light. But instead of burning, the light caught him, lifted him, pulled him inside. The Melon core spoke. "You are not of this world, yet you carry its future." Zack floated in a sea of memories. He saw the first human landing, the first handshake, the first war. He saw Eli Stone, standing here just like him, trying to choose between sacrifice and surrender. He saw a path of peace and a path of fire, and then he saw himself holding hands with an alien child, teaching, laughing, rebuilding, a bridge between worlds. "Return of the core touched on the platform," Frula screamed. "He's gone." The rebels stepped back, confused. The pit had gone silent. Then, boom, a shockwave blasted out from the core, and Zack rose from the light, floating, his body surrounded by a golden glow. His eyes were calm. His hands pulsed with energy. The rebels froze in fear. Zack raised his hand, and the energy ropes around Frula shattered. Vorn stepped forward, shocked. "You've been touched by the core." Zack turned to the rebels. "This is your last chance. Help us build something new." Or get out of the way. The leader ran. The others dropped their weapons. The queen decides back in the city. News of the event spread fast. The human entered the Melon core. He survived. He returned, glowing. The queen stood in her private chamber, silent. Her advisors argued again. He's dangerous. He's powerful. He could be the key. The queen raised her hand. Silence. Bring him to me, she said. Alone. Touch of destiny. Zack entered the queen's chamber. The glow from the core had faded, but something had changed in him. He felt clear. The queen looked at him for a long time. You touched the Melon core, she said, and it accepted you. Zack nodded. It showed me the past and the future. And what did you see? I saw two paths. One ends in war, the other in trust. And how do we choose? Zack took a deep breath. Together. Slowly. He extended his hand. The queen stared at it. The room held its breath, and then she reached out and touched it. A wave of energy flowed between them. Soft, powerful, ancient. Outside, the sky shifted. Lights formed above the palace. The planet itself seemed to sigh with relief. The prophecy had taken a new shape. A warning in the dark, but far above. In a hidden ship orbiting Zelfar, a shadow watched. A human general. Angry. Cold. We warned him not to get too close, he said. An officer turned. Do we attack? The general narrowed his eyes. No. We wait. Let him build his dream. Then we decide if it's a threat. He stared down at the planet. The human touched the core. Now let's see if he can survive the consequences. The Melon rebellion peace does not come without resistance. The skies above Zelfar had calmed, but not everyone celebrated. In the hidden corners of the capital, in dusty basements and deep tunnels, anger grew. They called themselves the true Zelfarians. And to them, peace with humans was not a gift. It was a betrayal. Fires of protest. Ambassador. Zack stood on a platform in the center of the Grand Plaza. Hundreds of Zelfarians had gathered, some curious, some hopeful, and some furious. Beside him stood Queen Zalari and Frula. Zack spoke calmly into the air. I know our first contact wasn't messy. I made mistakes, but I've learned, and I'm still learning. His voice echoed across the plaza. I believe this can be more than peace. We can build something new. Together. A few aliens clapped. Others crossed their arms. But from the crowd, a glass orb flew toward the stage. It exploded. A flash, not deadly, but loud. A warning. Smoke rose. Chaos began, and somewhere in the crowd, a voice shouted, No more humans! The rebels rise. Again hours later, Queen Zalari's war room buzzed with tension. Holograms showed buildings on fire, rebels blocking the trade routes, stolen weapons being moved underground. We let the humans speak, a general snapped. Now the world is tearing apart. Zack stood still, quiet. They don't hate peace, he said. They hate change. They're afraid. Zalari turned. To him. Fear is dangerous. It spreads faster than fire. Frula looked up from a floating screen. We've confirmed it. The rebel group isn't small, it's growing, and someone is funding them. From Earth? Zack asked. She hesitated. Or from within. Old enemies. New shadows deep beneath the palace in the Queen's vault. Zack followed Frula into a secret chamber. On the wall were old files, images, videos, recordings from decades ago. Frula tapped a screen. A human face appeared. A general. Cold eyes. Familiar. General Kane, she said. Leader of Earth's special forces during the First Contact War. We thought he died, but we were wrong. The screen showed intercepted messages. Earth warships near the edge of Zelfarian space. Coded messages to rebel leaders on the planet. He's trying to restart the war, Frula whispered. From the shadows. Zack stared at Kane's face. He's not afraid of me, Zack said. He's afraid I might succeed. Offer of betrayal. Later that night, Zack walked alone through the palace gardens. A voice called from the shadows. Ambassador. Zack turned. A Zelfarian stepped forward. Tall, armored, face hidden behind a dark mask. You speak of peace, but you walk with the Queen. Do you speak for all humans? Zack nodded slowly. I try. The figure tossed a black disk at his feet. It glowed and projected a map, a rebel base deep in the floating mountains. They are planning something, an attack during the Festival of Light. Thousands will die. Zack frowned. Why give me this? The figure's voice cracked. Because I believe you might be different. But if you fail, I'll be there to finish it. He vanished into the shadows. Journey to the floating mountains. The next morning, Zack, Frula, and Vorn flew in a stealth ship toward the floating mountains, giant rocks suspended in air, covered in fog and lightning. As they flew, Zack held the blade of Eli stone. I never wanted to be part of a prophecy, he said. I just wanted to help. Frula smiled gently. Maybe that is the prophecy. Suddenly alarms blared. A missile shot from the mist. Vorn turned sharply, dodging it, but the ship spun out of control, crashing on the edge of a floating cliff. They survived. But barely, and now, they had to walk. Scene 6. Rebel Fortress. The rebel base was carved into the mountain. Guarded by drones and armored aliens, Zack and Frula snuck through the back tunnels, guided by the map the masked figure had given them. Inside, they found crates of weapons, some from Earth, others marked with symbols of the old war. They also found a timer. 20 hours, Frula said. They plan to attack during the celebration. The Queen will be on stage. It'll be chaos. Zack stared at the explosives. They want war so badly they'll burn their own world. A voice came from behind. And if that's the price for freedom, so be it. They turned. General Kane stood there, alive, armed, and smiling. Confrontation. Zack raised his blade. Kane held a strange gun, humming with power. You're supposed to be dead, Zack said. Death is boring, Kane replied. And watching you dance for the aliens? It's been entertaining. You sent the rebels. I built them, Kane snapped. You think these creatures want peace? No, they respect force, fear, and control. I gave them that. Zacky stepped forward. You could have helped. We could have rebuilt something better. Better? Kane laughed. There is no better. Only stronger. Kane fired. Zack dove. The blast hit the wall, exploding in sparks. Frula screamed. Vorn leapt from the shadows, crashing into Kane. They fought hard, fast, brutal, but Vorn was wounded. Zack stood again, breathing hard. Kane aimed. Zack threw the blade. Direct hit. Kane fell, still not dead. He coughed. But maybe. Done. The warning. They disabled the explosives, shut down the rebel base, sent a message to the Queen. But before leaving, Zack stood over Kane's body. Kane whispered one final warning. You think you've won, but humans won't accept aliens as equals, and Zelfarians will never follow a human leader. Peace will fail. Zack looked him in the eyes. Maybe, but not today. The speech that shook two worlds. Back in the capital, during the Festival of Light, Zack stood beside the Queen on the grand stage. The entire planet watched. So did Earth. Zack stepped forward. There are people who want us to fear each other, to hate, to fight. He paused. But the truth is, I did insult the Queen. I did break your rules. And I paid for it. Not with war, not with lies, but by learning, by listening. He looked around. Peace isn't a gift. It's a choice. And we have to make it every day, even when it's hard. He held out his hand to the Queen. And this time, she took it. Proudly. The crowd roared. A bridge had been built. The secret code. Later that night in his private room, Zack reviewed the rebel data they recovered. One file stood out. A strange encrypted message. Frula helped decode it. A voice played. Cold, human. Project Divide was only phase 1. The real plan is just beginning. Phase 2. Awaken the sleeper. Frula's eyes went wide. What sleeper? Zack whispered. Something still hidden, maybe not on Zelfur. They stared at the stars through the window. Peace had been earned, but darkness still waited. Trial of the Melon Maw piece had returned to Zelfur, but not trust. Humans and Zelfarians now spoke politely. They worked side by side in some cities. Even children played together. But beneath the surface, old wounds still bled. The council feared one thing. What if the prophecy wasn't finished yet, and according to the sacred scrolls, it wasn't? One final trial remained. Scene 1. The Queen's command Zack stood inside the Queen's chamber, facing the Council of Elders. Elder Neela spoke in a soft but firm voice. You have united two worlds, but unity without truth is hollow. Queen, Xilari added, the core accepted you, but the world must too, the people still whisper. Some fear you, some follow you blindly. Another elder stepped forward. You must pass the final trial. Zack raised an eyebrow. What trial? Elder Nyla's eyes darkened. You must face the Melon Maw. The myth of the Maw. That night, Frula and Zack sat by the garden pool. Glowing lights floated above. The water. It was peaceful, but Zack's mind wasn't. What is the Melon Maw? He asked. Frula looked troubled. It's not a beast, not really. It's older than our cities, older than our language. So it's... what? A god? No, a judge. She stared into the water. Every few centuries someone touches the core, and if they survive, the Melon Maw is awakened. It's the final test. The Maw looks inside your soul. It shows you your truth, then asks if you can still live with. So is what happens if I fail. You disappear forever. Zack swallowed hard. Great. Entrance to the Hollow Heart. The next day, Zack, Frula, and a group of guards traveled to a place not marked on any map. The Hollow Heart of Zelfur. Giant roots from ancient trees covered the entrance. Lightning struck nearby mountains. The air smelled like memory. Inside, the tunnels twisted like thoughts. Each wall was covered in moving symbols, like they were alive. This place isn't made of stone, Zack whispered. It's made of memory. Elder Nyla nodded. Yes, this is the root of Zelfur's mind. The Maw lives here. As they reached a wide stone gate, everyone stopped. Nyla handed Zack a glowing fruit, the seed of judgment. Only you may enter, she said. Only I have to, Zack muttered, stepping inside. Swallowed by the Maw, the door shut behind him. Total silence. Then the walls moved. They curled like a mouth closing. A deep hum echoed. Soft at first, then louder, deeper. You have come, a voice whispered. You bring change and fear. Zack looked around. I'm not afraid. You lie, the voice said. The room vanished, and suddenly, Zack stood on Earth. Fear of failure, Zack walked through a ruined version of Earth. Buildings burned, skies cracked with red light. He saw people running, soldiers firing, ships falling from space. No, he whispered. A young boy stood in the flames. You promised peace, the boy said, but you brought war. Zack ran forward. I tried, I made mistakes, but you touched the Queen, the voice returned. You changed fate. I didn't ask to be part of any prophecy, but you were chosen. And now, you must carry the weight. Zack fell to his knees. The broken mirror, suddenly, he stood before a mirror. But his reflection wasn't him. It was General Kane. Cold, cruel, smiling. We're not so different, the reflection said. I'm nothing like you. You led them to trust you. So did I. You wore peace like armor. So did I. And when they disappointed you, the reflection pulled a weapon. You'll destroy them, just like I would. Zack stepped back. I would never, are you sure? The voice asked. The mirror shattered, and everything went black. The heart of the Maw light returned. Zack floated in a dark space. Endless, silent, still. A giant glowing shape appeared in front of him. Not a monster, not a god, but a giant, ancient. I, the Melon Maw. You have seen your fear, the Maw said. Now show me your truth. Zack held out the seed of judgment. His hands trembled. The seed floated upward, and from it, images flowed. Zack as a child. Lonely. Zack shaking the Queen's hand. Zack failing. Learning. Choosing peace. Even when it hurt. I don't know if I'm worthy, he whispered. But I keep choosing hope. The Maw was silent. Then, it blinked. And disappeared. Awakening, Zack gasped and sat up. He was lying on a stone floor. Frula was at his side. He's back, she shouted. Elder Nyla smiled. He has passed. Zack looked around. What happened? Frula grinned. You were gone for a day. Zack blinked. I was gone for a lifetime. The new bond back in the palace, a new celebration was prepared. But this time, not to honor Zack. Instead, it was to announce a new program, a peace academy, where young humans and Zelfarians would live and learn together. Zack stood with the Queen on the balcony. She handed him a scroll. This will be your mission now, she said. No longer just an ambassador. You are a peacekeeper of both worlds. Zack opened the scroll. Inside was a message. The Maw has accepted you. But peace must be chosen every day. The storm returns later that night as the stars glowed above. Zack sat in the palace tower. He looked at the planet below. Frula joined him. What did the Maw show you? She asked. My worst fears, he said. And my deepest truth. Are you afraid now? Zack paused. Yes, he said. But I'm not running. Suddenly an alert flashed on the tower screen. Unknown ship approaching. Signal encrypted. Origin unknown. Zack stood. The story wasn't over. Peace isn't quiet. A week had passed since Ambassador Zack returned from the trial of the Melon Maw. He was now called the Bridgemaker. The academy he founded stood tall over the plains of Zelfar, shining with glass towers and blooming fruit trees. From both worlds, humans and Zelfarians studied together, learning culture, language, and diplomacy. But something still felt unfinished. Zack sat on a balcony watching the stars with Frula beside him. We've come so far, she said. From one mistake to all this. Zack smiled. You saved me, more than once. Frula looked at him. The prophecy wasn't just about saving planets. Maybe it was about saving people, too. She touched his hand. No shock, no explosion, just warmth. The signal in the void, then the alarm blared. A new ship had entered orbit. Stealth class, no ID, no communication. The defense system sent probes. The ship destroyed them in seconds. Queen Zilari stood in the control tower, eyes narrowed. This is not a mistake, she said. This is a threat. Zack's heart sank. A message came through. Not a voice, not a face, just a symbol, a broken fruit hung split down the middle. Who is it? Frula asked. Zack stepped forward. I've seen that symbol before, he whispered. In the rebel data. Ghost of the pasta transmission finally came. A face appeared. Not human, not Zelfarian. Something in between. Half-glowing skin, eyes that shimmered blue and gold. His voice was calm but hollow. Ambassador Zack, Queen Zilari. I am Sirin, born of both bloods. Frula stepped back. That's impossible. Interbreeding is forbidden. Zack stared. But not impossible. Sirin nodded. I was hidden, raised in the void, trained in silence. Now I return to claim what is mine. What do you want? The Queen asked. A future where hybrids like me are not hunted, where ancient laws do not kill children, where fruit is not feared. He paused. But your peace slows progress, so I offer this choice. Hand over the Bridgemaker, or I will end the bridge. The meeting, the Queen called an emergency council. Zack sat in the center. We can't trust him, one elder said. He's using pain to justify power. He's part human, said another. Maybe he deserves to be heard. Zack stood. I'll meet him, alone. Frula grabbed his arm. That's suicide. Maybe, he said. But I've learned something from Zelfarians. He looked around. You don't win peace by hiding. You win it by standing in front of danger, open-handed. Scene 5. Starlight Duel. The meeting took place on a floating island in orbit, surrounded by ancient tech. Siren stood alone, his armor flowing like liquid. Zack wore only a light suit and the crystal blade of Eli stone. They circled each other. You could join me, Siren said. I saw your fears in the maw. You're tired of fighting alone. Zack shook his head. I don't fight for power. I fight for connection. Siren raised a glowing weapon. Then connect. Through battle. They clashed. Light against light, blade against beam. Siren moved like shadow. But Zack fought with truth. Each strike was a message. Each dodge was a lesson. Finally, Zack disarmed him. Placed the blade at his throat, but he didn't kill. He offered his hand again. This time it wasn't about offense. It was about forgiveness. Choosing the bridge, Siren stared at Zack's hand. For a long time nothing moved. Then, he took it, and for a moment, the stars pulsed. A strange glow wrapped around them both. The bridge was expanding. Hybrids, once feared, could now exist freely. New generations. New laws. Queen Zilari sent a broadcast across both worlds. From this day forward, no child shall be hunted for blood. No culture shall stand alone. The prophecy is complete. The bridge is open. A heart touched. That night, Zack stood in the academy garden. Frula walked to him wearing her ambassador robe. You grabbed my hand once, she said, smiling, and nearly destroyed a planet. Zack laughed softly. Best mistake I ever made. She moved closer. Now you've touched something else. Zack raised an eyebrow. What's that? Frula whispered. My heart. And this time she kissed him. No prophecy. No war. Just two souls at peace. The final message weeks later, Zack recorded a message to Earth and Zelfar, his final log as ambassador. When I came here, I wanted to represent Earth. But I learned that peace isn't about speaking for one world. It's about listening to both. He paused. You don't need to understand every custom, but you must respect it. Even if it looks strange. Even if it feels wrong. He smiled. I learned that from a queen, a warrior, and a girl who wears melon hats. He shut off the recording. Epilogue. Legend of the Bridgemaker. Years later, children from Earth and Zelfar would tell the tale of a human who grabbed a queen's hand and nearly caused a war. But instead, he built a future. And somewhere, on a floating garden between two worlds, an old bridge still stands, not made of stone, but of trust, truth, and love. The end.